Breaking news now coming in from Pakistan. Islamabad police have refused to file an FIR against the unknown men who tried to abduct Wion's correspondent and bureau chief Taha Siddiqui on Wednesday. Here's what Taha Siddiqui has just tweeted. Take a look. Quote, "Police not registering my FIR of the attempted kidnapping and murder and have told journalists that my statement contains references to sensitive agencies. I appeal to the Pakistani PM and the Interior Minister to help me in this regard. I want justice, as journalism is not a crime." Again, this information just coming in. Wion's Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui, who was attemptedly almost abducted yesterday and then attacked in Islamabad while on the way to the airport, now tweeting saying that the police are refusing to file a complaint after what happened to capture the 10 or 12 attackers who were there yesterday. This tweet coming in about 30 minutes ago saying that journalism is not a crime. All right, let me read out that tweet to you just again. Quote, "Police not registering my FIR of the attempted kidnapping and the murder, and they have told journalists that my statement contains references to sensitive agencies. I appeal to the Pakistani PM and the Interior Minister to help me in this regard. I want justice, as journalism is not a crime." Again, what happened yesterday was when Taha, he was in a car. Another car pulled up. He was on his way to the airport. That's when 10 to 12 men with weapons came out, attacked him, took his laptop, took his passport, took his phone. He had a quick moment there when he was back in the car to escape, and he ran into oncoming traffic, and then he was able to manage to escape his attackers. So certainly a huge story when it comes to journalists facing the line of fire, especially in a country like Pakistan. Taha spoke out earlier to members of the Pakistani media and the press, talking about and narrating his harrowing ordeal. Now, this information just coming in, Taha tweeting saying that the police there are not doing enough to help and protect him and find those men who attacked him. All right, let's go straight to Wion's correspondent. We have Ramesh Ramachandran joining us now from the international desk with the very latest. Ramesh, Taha just tweeting a short while ago saying police are simply not doing enough to bring those attackers behind bars and not doing enough to protect journalists in the country. How significant is this development?
Indeed, Archis, Taha Siddiqui, as you mentioned, has put out a tweet this morning recounting his experience and the inability or the incapacity or the unwillingness of the authorities concerned to register his FIR, the first information report, into the incident of the alleged abduction of Taha Siddiqui yesterday in Islamabad. And I have a couple of more other updates this morning from Taha and his friends in Islamabad. One, that he has been provided 24-hour security, that there are 2 armed guards who are outside his house and are supposed to be with him throughout the duration of their deployment along with Taha, and to ensure his security and protection. That's number one. Number two is that, as I mentioned, the FIR, the first information report, has still not been filed, and Taha wonders why this delay has been on for so many hours now. Third, that he is in touch with his lawyers, and he will decide the next course of his action in the hours and days ahead. Also, that he would like to meet with some senators and lawmakers of Pakistan's parliament later today, especially members of the Senate Human Rights Committee, before which he will file an application in the hope that the Senate will urge an instant probe into the alleged abduction of Taha Siddiqui. And finally, that at about 4 p.m. India time, or about 4 p.m. Pakistan time, that's 4:30 p.m. India time, there is an already scheduled event at the Islamabad Press Club to discuss the enforced disappearances of Pakistani nationals. And Taha was supposed to speak at that event. He may or may not be able to make it to the event, but the event itself stands as per schedule, and it's expected to begin at about 4 p.m. Pakistan time or 4:30 p.m. India time.
Ramesh, certainly interesting developments coming in with regards to Wion's Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui in Islamabad. And as you pointed out, that update coming in later on this afternoon at the press club there when it talks about these enforced disappearances. In fact, we understand that Taha, in fact, was able to get a phone and tweet out about his experiences using somebody else's Twitter ID, quickly escalating the situation, which has now drawn international media coverage. Let's talk about the bigger picture when it comes to journalists who are in countries like Pakistan, where perhaps freedom of speech is restricted, especially to the press. How significant is this? What type of a precedent does this set?
Indeed, Archit, Pakistan is notorious for the forced disappearances of civilians, including journalists, over the last several years, and some of whom have actually been murdered. And those probes are still pending. We don't know as to who murdered those journalists in the past. But Taha was lucky to have survived this alleged abduction attempt on and threatened his life in particular. But that said, we are waiting for more information to trickle down from the authorities concerned. It's interesting because the FIR, the first information report, has still not been filed, and one wonders why. One can only speculate because Taha's complaint mentions the names of some specific Pakistani agencies who he suspects may have had a hand in his alleged abduction attempt, and probably that's why the police are dragging their feet on filing of this first information report. Still in the realm of speculation. I don't want to speculate, get ahead of myself or the authorities concerned, but this seems to be the most probable reason as to why the FIR has still not been filed more than 24 hours after this alleged abduction attempt. But that's it, as you correctly mentioned, Archit, Pakistan, there are many disappearances happening in Pakistan, especially of journalists, and that is a cause of concern not only for Pakistani journalists, but journalists all around the world, including the reporters and journalist watchdogs in Europe as well.
All right, Ramesh Ramachandran getting us the very latest on this developing story from the international desk with regards to Taha Siddiqui's latest information saying the police are simply not doing enough. Ramesh, thanks for those updates.